Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. Bring on the host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Hello everyone, I'm Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs and the host of Vegas Rock Dog Radio. On today's show, I'm talking about pet travel after Brexit, so stay right there.
Let's bring on the host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm your host. I'm Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs, and this is Vegas Rock Dog Radio. We are a rock and roll show all about pets, people, and pop culture. And in studio with me today is Mr. Jim.
Hello.
And we've got Mr. Twix and Miss Thornton, and Miss Galaxy looks down on us from heaven. And she's always keeping an eye on us to make sure we bring you a great show every single week. Well, Jim, you've just come back from a ride, yeah?
Yeah, it was a short ride today.
A lot of pollen out right now.
Oh, my nose wouldn't stop running.
It's
and
wicked.
we had a crosswind the whole time. Yeah, my nose and eyes right now really know that I was outside in a bunch of pollen.
Oh,
and even though the sky's crystal clear, by eyeballing it, it's
It's what?
I don't know. I'm just sitting here rubbing my eyes.
Don't rub your eyes, because you know what happens when you rub your eyes. Let me tell you what happened to me last week.
I'm not going to tell you what he's doing right now.
I don't want to know.
Mr. Toodles, stop it.
Well, 8 days ago, 9 days ago. Jim, why are you shouting in the studio?
I have to give him the stop.
Just get up then. That's fine. That's fine. Screaming in the background. What's going on? Well, 8 days ago, 9 days ago, we had our 80s hairball, our Rockin' for Rescues 80s hairball, huge fundraiser for the year. Of course, it's an 80s theme. Oh, and if you haven't seen the photos yet, either go to my Instagram stories or go over to Rockin' for Rescues Facebook page. That's the number 4, by the way, Rockin' for Rescues, no G, Rockin' for Rescues. And look at the photos. You will laugh your head off. There's one in particular that is my all-time favorite. I think it will go down in history of all hairballs. Anyway, after the event, it was a very successful event, and such a fantastic group of people that came out to Three Sheets Craft Beer Bar here in Las Vegas, and just had so much fun raising money, bidding on auction items, buying raffle tickets, eating food by Tacotarian. And Tacotarian is owned by a friend of ours, and Kristen, she has the largest menu of vegan tacos in the universe. That's their tagline. Anyway, it was a great event. So towards the end, I'd chosen to wear contacts. I don't normally do it, but I did. And, you know, being in Vegas, your eyeballs are always dry, always. Contacts, you can't keep them in for long, and then they're blurred. So I took them out and I rubbed my eye, put some eye drops in, and usually it takes a minute for my eyes to like clear up from wearing contacts, and it just didn't in one eye. So Saturday morning,
one eye.
One eye. So I wake up Saturday morning. And I say to Jim, get up, we have to go to urgent care. I can't see out of my left eye. And he says to me, I need to take a shower. I said, you are not getting a shower. I can't see out of my eyeball. So off we went to urgent care. Great people over there. Flushed out the eye, put some special drops in them that would show up any kind of tears or scratches, and this like big square lens thing they put over my face to look. Said I can't really see anything. You obviously done some things you can't see, and it's probably very superficial. But I'm going to flush your eye out. I'll give you an antibiotic to drop in your eye and some painkiller to drop in your eye, and get to your optician as soon as you can. That was Saturday. Didn't improve Sunday. Just killing. Go there Monday. It's just so painful, so swollen, irritated. Oh, my goodness. Just a mess. I still can't see. So our fantastic optician, Spencer Quinton, in case anyone's looking for a great guy. How long have you been going to Spencer?
17, 18 years.
It's a long time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
First time I've ever had anything wrong with my eyes, apart from I can't see, but my prescription has changed a little bit. So he flips. Well, I tried to get Jim to flip my eyelid inside out. Impossible. He just kept saying you don't have enough eyelid.
You don't have enough eyelid.
Anyway.
And then you gripe at me.
Spencer managed to do it quite easily.
Yeah, but you know what? I make the analogy. It's like doing our dog's nails.
Yeah.
We do it at home, and we can't do it as effectively as a doctor. And you're the same way.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
You're the same,
I think I'm fantastic on nails. I'm sorry.
You're a terrible patient. You're a terrible patient. And I'm not going to suffer the wrath because...
Don't you diss my nail trimming skills. I've been doing them a long time, and I'm very good at it.
I'm talking about your patient skills.
You've never actually done their nails.
You're not a good patient.
But, Jim, you've never done their nails.
No, because you make me hold them and get all scratched up.
They don't.
You have an ulterior
You no
motive.
longer get scratched up. You used to in the beginning. Anyway, let's get back on track a little bit. So he flips the eyelid, and he said, "Oh yeah, there it is. It's a little stick."
A splinter.
He said, "A stick." You were sat there.
Yeah, but at that point, it's a splinter because it's a little tiny microscopic thing.
It was. He said, "A stick."
Okay, is it still there?
So it probably came off one of the bushes, because our event was outside. And it was a little bit windy. Anyway, so what they had done is scraped my cornea every time I blinked since Friday. Oh, anyway, they've got the equipment to take a good old look. And sure enough, he says, "Yep, looks like you put sandpaper on the top of your cornea." And it's just continually got worse because I got this continuously got worse. Continually. Just missed that whole letter there. It got worse. Well, that was Monday. I was back on Tuesday. Agony. But what the problem was this time was there was so much inflammation and it was bumpy underneath my eyelid. That was rubbing on the cornea. So they gave me what they call a bandage contact lens to put in. So it protects the eye, and it also reacts to light. So when you go outside, it goes dark so that it doesn't kill your eyeballs. Anyway, that made a huge difference. And then I went back yesterday. Bit by bit, the vision improving. I went back yesterday, had a new lens put in. Now they said by Monday, if it's not 100%, because it's about 80% right now, then they're going to put a heavy-duty lens in that's made of placenta. I'm not lying.
Delicious.
Placenta. A placenta lens. It's more heavy-duty. My life. Why can't it just run smoothly? Come on. Anyway, at the same time, my little Thornton, she scratched her eye because, like I said, there's pollen galore out here right now. So I did have some ointment. So both of us have got dodgy eyes. And, of course, everybody's had lots of fun with it. My friends, my family, sending me pictures of Marty Feldman. Is it Marty Feldman?
Oh, with the eyeballs.
Yeah, popping out. And I said, I can't believe it's been 8 days since we had our event. And someone said, yeah, but in the blink of an eye. I'm like, well, yeah, only in the blink of one eye because one's not working. So we've you know what? If you can have a laugh, it takes a little bit of the stress away because it was scary. I couldn't see. It's like, here, let's dollop some Vaseline in your eye. See how you get along. So I'd not been able to drive all week. Oh, dear. Goodness me. What's the moral of this story? Don't rub your eyes. Do not rub your eyes, people. You don't know what's in your eye. You can actually damage your eye yourself just rubbing too hard. So don't be doing that. Anyway, that's the moral of the story. My eye's a little bit better today. Oh, it was a long story, but we got there. But the 80s Hairball was a huge success, and we hope to see more people next year because this is an annual event in Las Vegas, and we will be doing another one in Iowa, where Pam is our partner, and so we're giving the Iowans some 80s fun over there. And if you would like to donate to our charity, you can hop on over to our page, which is rockinforrescues.org. That's rockin', no G, and the number 4. All right, that's that part of my story. By the way, if you are new to this show, there's a ton of places that you can find us on the internet. Our website is vegasrockdogradio.com, and you'll find us on Periscope, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Tumblr, and Instagram. I'm loving Instagram again. I'm back in love with Instagram. And we have a blog, therockandrolldog.com. And you can also find the show. If you don't catch the live show, then you can find the show on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spoke by SiriusXM, Spotify. We're now on Spotify, and any other platform that, any kind of app that you've got on your phone where you can listen to a podcast, you're going to find us quite easily. Right, so that's that. Here's my weekly update, apart from the eyeball, and we've done the 80s hairball. Got a theme going on here. Did you see the guy, Jim, the UPS guy, who takes pictures with the pets on his route?
I saw one picture, but I've been anti-social media this week, pretty much.
That's not a bad thing. It's nice to have a little break once in a while. But what a nice guy, such a nice guy. And he knows all the pets' names. And there he is having selfies with all the dogs and, telling little stories about them. He talked about 2 corgis where one was really shy, one was super friendly. And before the people actually moved house, all of a sudden, the shy dog warmed up to him and allowed him to do lots of pets and cuddles. But it's just a really nice, feel-good story, because there was a story last week where there was a postman who was pepper spraying dogs for no reason when he went to deliver the mail. So this more than makes up for it. And by the way, the post office, they then investigated that. They also asked everyone on his route, had their dogs been injured, acting weird, was something not right with them, and they're investigating that. So those kind of people deserve to lose their jobs. And here's the thing. I think it was in England because we have CCTV everywhere. So don't be doing stuff like that. We can see you. Anyway, I'm always thankful for that.
Mr. Twix had a piece of sticky white
what is it?
tape paper on his paw.
And what was he doing with it?
Trying to lick it off. He got into something because there were cotton balls and things. What was that thing that he left in here, by the way?
It was a little hair clip, yeah?
Where did he get it?
No idea, because it's the most hideous little thing I've ever seen in my life. It's a little tiny clip hair thing.
Did somebody throw it in our backyard?
I don't know, because it's got a bow on it, and it's got
got
an American football on it.
Is that our neighbors? Who threw that into our yard?
I don't know, but do you remember that time we had the really horrible neighbors and we found chicken bones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not happy. So that's actually, while we're on that topic, by the way, there was a lady this week that's in one of the best, I'm going to say the best dog training group. It's called Do No Harm Dog Training. It's fantastic. Linda Michaels runs it. She is the expert with the education behind her and the experience. Brilliant group. I recommend you do join it. It's called Do No Harm Dog Training. But there's a lady in there that was sharing the message that her dog died from suffocation from, I think it was a crisp bag, Jim.
Really?
Yeah. So, and as you know, we're friends with Bonnie Harlan, who is the founder of Prevent Pet Suffocation, because it happened to her dog. So she started this charity to spread the word, because these are hidden dangers in your house. And sadly, this lady, she was unaware of that, and it took her dog's life. Anyway, she posted in there, and I said, "Oh my gosh, that's so devastating, absolutely devastating." So, leading from that, and Mr. Twix having this really weird hair thing, especially when it's windy, go and check your gardens before letting your dogs out, because rubbish blows into your gardens, and you're talking about bags, snack bags.
Well, that hair clip didn't get there by itself.
No, it didn't. Food wrappers and stuff, and you don't want the same to happen to your pet, whether it's in your home or in your garden. So after a windy day, most definitely check your garden. And if you've got dodgy neighbours, always check your garden. Can't believe this. It's so hideous too. It's definitely not mine. Goodness me. Got a little bit better taste than that. So that's just a little tip for the week. I have some good news, by the way, and I'm almost there. As you know, I design notebooks, and we've got a variety of designs all based around animals. And guess what? Oh, well, first of all, there are two very famous guinea pigs. They call them skinny pigs when they have no hair, yeah? Two famous skinny pigs in Vegas. And we're talking about OG, as in original guinea pig, and we're talking about Jeezy. And these two guinea pigs are famous. Anyway, they bought my notebook this week, Twin Weeks. They bought my notebook. Great photo. Run over to my Instagram account. It's just vegasrockdog. Run over to the Instagram account and take a look. So cute. They're there with the book. Brilliant. Anyway, I've been working on, and this is taking a little bit longer, but I've been working on a pet journal. And I don't know why I've not done it before, but when you think about it, you've got your information all over the place, haven't you, when it comes to your pets? You might have stuff filed away for vaccines or titer testing one place, notes for a pet sitter somewhere else, or no notes at all, and then you just, scribbling stuff down when they've got to go to the sitter. And then you're constantly texting them with, remember this, do you remember that? Oh, don't forget to do this, which is really quite annoying. And then you've just got their stuff, spread out. Oh, you just don't have much of it together at all. So I wanted to do a pet journal. Well, you'll be able to track. Well, first of all, in the front page, you're going to be able to write down your pet's name, weight, breed, ID, chip, those kind of things. Then you're going to have your vet's information put in there, your pet sitter's information, also your groomer, if you use a groomer. And apart from stuff that you can actually log down, like your vet visits, there's also journaling pages that you can use every day for your pets, or a monthly, roundup. And there are some pages that your pet sitter can use when you're not with your pets. So what you can do is they can, write down how they did, with their breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever it is, treats, playtime, sleep. Were they displaying any kind of stress when they were there? Did they eat all their breakfast? That kind of thing. And you'll be able to write notes and, critical information that they need to know. And it's all going to be in your pet journal. That is coming out next week. I'm just finalizing fonts. Oh, there are so many great fonts to choose from, but I'm just finalizing fonts. And I think it's going to be a great book. It's 8 by 10, so it's a decent size. And it's one of those things that it'll be like your pet's life, all in one book. And then go to the pet sitter, just leave them with the book, and you're good to go. So that's coming out. I'm very excited about that. Well, shall we take a quick break, because we're going to talk about Brexit. Oh, my Brits, they're sick of Brexit. Everybody's sick of hearing the word Brexit. But you know what? It's been going on, Brexit, for 2 years. Yeah. Here's the deal: if you don't quite understand what's going on. Britain will be leaving, United Kingdom will be leaving
we're going to take
Union.
a break and then you get into it?
It will be leaving the European Union. And what people don't understand is you can leave without a deal, or you can leave with a deal. And most of the politicians, MPs, do not want to leave without a deal. So this is a big issue right now. The deals can be done after the fact, which, I'm sure not every deal is going to be, covered, I'm sure, in the time that they've got, because we should have gone by now. Anyway, it then makes you think about not just for us traveling. I think I need to get a brand new passport now, another one, which I did like the dark blue, I have to tell you. I hated that burgundy that we got. Sounds all so superficial. And of course, traveling around Europe will be slightly different. But how are you going to travel with your pets? That's an interesting one. So that's going to be our topic right after the break. So you're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs, and we will be right back.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Pet Scene Magazine is dedicated to Las Vegas pets and the people who love them. It's a source of news and information for pet lovers, as well as offering valuable coupons and specials on pet products and services. Find them online at www.lvpetscene.com or look for them on Facebook.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, and you can find us, like I said earlier, on any kind of social media platform. Just search for Vegas Rock Dog or Vegas Rock Dog Radio, and you'll find us. Okay, pet travel to Europe after Brexit. You know, people are annoyed that it's been going on for 2 years.
They should have a breakfast called the Brexit.
I bet they do, though. I bet you do. I bet they do. And
Bregfast.
and there'll be some significance to what's on the breakfast itself.
Brexfast.
But listen to this. You know, people, everybody's like, I'm sick of it. It's been going on 2 years. You know, we deal with this every 2 years, don't we, Jim, with an election?
Yep.
It's exhausting. Every 2 years we deal with this. They've already started campaigning. We're 2 years away. You feel like it's just a non-stop campaign. So I totally get how people are feeling. It's quite frustrating. Anyway, so how are we going to travel with our pets after Brexit within Europe? And this information came from the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. It's a part of the British government. Anyway, advice for pet owners planning to take a pet to any EU country after the 29th of March, which is already gone, in the event of the UK leaving the EU without a deal. So the government is committed to achieving a deal with the EU, but in the event we do not reach an agreement, we have a duty as a responsible government to plan for every eventuality. To make sure your pet is able to travel from the UK to the EU after 29th of March, in any scenario, you should contact your vet at least 4 months before traveling to get the latest advice. Now, here are the rules for pet travel. The rules for taking your pet to any EU country will change if the UK leaves the EU with no deal and is treated as an unlisted country. That just seems so ridiculous. Anyway, you must get your dog, cat, or ferret, if you're traveling with your ferret, microchipped and then vaccinated against rabies before it can travel. However, to allow effective contingency planning in the worst case scenario of the UK not being granted third country status, you'll need to take the following steps to make sure your pet can travel after the 29th of March 2019. You must get your dog, cat, or ferret microchipped and then vaccinated against the rabies, like we said, before you travel. Your pet must have a blood sample taken at least 30 days after the rabies vaccine. You'll need to talk to your vet about whether you need a rabies vaccination or boost before this test. Or if they allow you to do a titer test, titer test makes sense because then you really are testing the blood. Anyway, your vet must send the blood sample to an EU-approved blood testing lab, and the results of the blood test must show that the vaccination was successful. Your pet must have a rabies antibody level of at least 0.5 IU/ml. I'm assuming that's milliliters. You must wait 3 months from the date the successful blood sample was taken before you travel. So you've got to give yourself a 4-month window. You must take your pet to an official veterinarian no more than 10 days before travel to get a health certificate. So there's some steps here. So a good 4 months ahead is when you're going to make sure that they're up to date on the rabies vaccine, that the antibody level is right where it should be. And then you've got to wait your 3 months, and then the blood sample is going to be taken, it's going to be sent off, and then no more than 10 days before travel, you'll need to grab a health certificate. If there's no deal, pet passports issued in the UK would not be valid for travel to the EU. So don't think if you've got your pet passport and there's no deal that it's still going to be okay. It's not. You should contact your vet at least 4 months before you plan on traveling to any EU country. A successful blood test is only required for the first time travel to an EU country. This is provided that your pet's rabies vaccinations are kept up to date with boosters before the expiry date of the previous vaccination. I'll need to check a little bit about the titer test. We do a lot of titer tests. What was the new
sound effect you just used?
What? Sucking the air in.
Hannibal Lecter.
Or, I wonder if they have if they'll allow you a... Well, here's the thing. Why go on a date saying, okay, your vaccine was on this date, so now you need another one on this date? Why not go with the titer testing? They do a lot of titer testing in Britain. So why not do that? That is a true indication of the antibodies. Anyway, So 10 days after the date of issue for entry into the EU, 4 months of onward travel within the EU. This is what the health certificate is valid for. Re-entry to the UK for 4 months after the date of issue. On arrival in the EU, pet owners travelling with their pets would be required to enter through a designated traveller's point of entry, which is a TPE, by the way. At the TPE, the pet owner may be asked to present proof of microchip, rabies vaccination, and the blood test result alongside their pet's health certificate. It's interesting because they asked for that blood test in the first place, which is great. That's the title, yeah? So why not just do a repeat of that instead of going, oh, a date rolled around, let's boost those vaccinations. And you may be doing it unnecessarily, and it can impact your health. So, repeat trips to the EU, because, as Brits, we like to travel a lot. Pets that have previously had a blood test and have an up-to-date rabies vaccine do not need to repeat the blood test. Your pet will need a health certificate for each trip to the EU. To get a new health certificate, you must take your pet to an official veterinarian no more than 10 days before you travel. And you must take proof of your pet's vaccination history, a successful rabies and antibody blood test result, and return to the UK. Your pet must have one of the following documents when returning to the UK. An existing EU pet passport, so that's both for UK and EU citizens, the EU health certificate issued by the UK used to travel to the EU, a UK pet health certificate issued outside the UK for travel into the UK only, and check the routes before you travel. On existing approved routes, your documents and microchip will be checked. And if you're not traveling on an approved route, talk to your vet about what preparations you need to make before travel. There will be no change to the current requirements for pets entering the UK from the EU after the 29th of March. Travel from countries that are not free from tapeworm. That's Echinococcus.
Oh, my.
Multilocularis.
Oh, my.
Dixie Licks. That's a cough medicine. Anyway, you'll need to take your dog to a vet between 1 and 5 days before returning to the UK for an approved tapeworm treatment, yeah? You do not need to treat your dog for tapeworm if you're coming directly from the UK. If you're coming directly to the UK from Finland, Ireland, Malta, or Norway, you've really got to get your countries in order, where you're traveling and what you need to do. Anyway, UK nationals living abroad. If you're living in Europe and are planning to travel with your pet using a UK-issued pet passport, you should speak to your local vet. They'll be able to help you understand the impact of Brexit and ensure you're compliant with EU pet travel regulations.
See, you Europeans already are complicating life way too much.
It's not about life being complicated.
It's too much complication.
We want the shackles taken off us.
Well, there's too much bureaucracy. That EU is too bureaucratic.
Oh, yes, it is. Totally it is.
It's just a nightmare.
That's why we're leaving. Anyway, if you have a pet passport issued by an EU member state, you can use it to bring your pet to the UK. To return your pet to an EU country from the UK, you'll need to ensure it has a successful rabies antibody blood test. And if your pet has a successful blood test before leaving the EU, you will not need to wait the 3 months before travelling. What I would do is, when you purchase my pet journal, then you'll be able to log all of this information down.
It's a very good book that you should have to jot all of this down and carry with you in your...
Because I'm reading this right now and going, okay, I'm to-ing and fro-ing and going, and, what do I need to do on this end and what do I need to do on that end, and then the time frames. So, yeah, you're going to need my pet journal just for this alone. Anyway, guidance on the new rules. We are seeking technical discussions with the European Commission to allow the UK to become a third listed country on the day we leave the EU. We will continue to press the Commission to discuss this option with us. The technical notice explains the impacts of all 3 different types of third country status in terms of the EU pet travel scheme. For information on the pet travel scheme in Northern Ireland, read the Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs. And that's the acronym is DAERA. And so there you go. That's a little bit complicated, So there. You've really got to be well planned out. You've got to have your schedule in order. You've got to figure out where you're going and what's required of those countries, both to and from. Really, really important.
Well, it's like my morning ride. I had to carefully plan to and from my house to make sure that I got back here without
Where did you go to, by the way?
Boulder City.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. Fancy pants.
Had coffee and everything already.
Oh, you're so fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Get you. Who did you ride with?
Brian.
I thought it was the rabbi ride.
No, it was just me and Brian. Brian and I both do that ride, but
Okay.
it was just the two of us today.
Well, I have some breaking news. It's not the fact that you went to Boulder City. There's a new bill introduced to keep primates out of the pet trade in the United States. I think that's a really good bill to be introduced. Anyway, it's newly introduced, and it's called the Captive Primate Safety Act, CPSA, that's supported by Animal Welfare Institute, that's the AWI, and it addresses the cruel and dangerous problem of pet primate ownership in the United States. Sponsored by Reps Earl Blumenauer and Brian Fitzpatrick. And this is a bipartisan bill. Woohoo, that's good. This bill would amend the Lacey Act to prohibit interstate commerce in non-human primates, including apes, monkeys, lemurs, and lorises for the exotic pet trade. The suffering pet primates endure. The suffering that pet primates endure is alarming, said Kathy Liss. She is the president of AWI. They are often forcibly removed from the mothers soon after birth, spend their lives isolated in small cages, and endure unnecessary, painful procedures such as tooth extraction. The Captive Primate Safety Act is urgently needed to prevent these animals from entering the inhumane interstate pet trade. Conservative estimates suggest there are at least 15,000 primates kept as pets in the United States. I think most of them are from Pahrump, Jim.
Well, we could thank a former celebrity for making that popular. Well, besides all the magicians and acts that use animals to cover up the fact that they stink at their craft.
Well, Jim's always said this. He said, if you're a really good magician or illusionist, you wouldn't need animals at all. But it is often the what do they call it? The mask that they hide behind, when they're not great themselves. It just seems so like,
and then the pop star that made exotic animals popular.
Who's that?
Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah, you can say his name.
Why?
We can say it because I didn't know who you're talking about.
Michael Jackson. Okay.
Who lived here as well before he passed away. You weren't with me when I met...
Didn't his chimp live here?
I don't know, but I met his dad.
The chimp's dad or...
No, Michael Jackson's dad.
Oh, yeah, well, we met Joe a few times.
Yeah.
Interesting guy.
Yeah. It's always a good word to describe a lot of people. Interesting. Nye County is the next county over from us. And, there's always seems to be an issue with exotics up there. Do you remember when we had that, was it a chimp or an ape that was loose here in town? They just shot and killed it.
It was a chimp.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
And then they lied and said, it was trying to attack someone. But someone was filming it. The police were nowhere near that animal. There was no one around it. And the woman said it was, first of all, she didn't have an appropriate, obviously, facility for it to live in, a home to live in, but didn't give it a chance. I mean, couldn't they do fire a dart? I mean, do you have to really kill it? Like, come on.
I don't think police have tranquilizer darts
they
when
should,
they're
though.
responding.
They should.
You want to get darted?
No. I don't want to get shot either.
Well,
I'd rather get darted than shot. Think about it.
I think wildlife experts have those, like the...
We have a Department of Wildlife.
Yeah, but...
Our neighbor used to run it.
They're usually not the first responder when a chimp is running loose in a public street where it shouldn't even be there.
I think that should be addressed. I think that should be addressed. It's ridiculous. You should not take a life if it's not necessary to take a life. And it was not attacking anyone. There's no one near it. Someone was videoing it. That's how we knew. Anyway, running on streets of Vegas. Saying that, though, we sat in the corner, on my favorite corner in Las Vegas. Let me tell you, it's the best corner. It's on Las Vegas Boulevard, and it's right where the Olympic Gardens strip club is. So I sat out there having a sandwich on the corner, right where the traffic lights are. I don't know. It's just the best people watching will ever do in Las Vegas. You'll see it all. You'll see tourists. You'll see hookers. You'll see drug dealers. Then there's the guy who sells Chinese food and donuts.
No, his business is gone.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Aw. And then there's the Venezuelan place, which we love. Anyway, we just sat there. It wasn't too hot in Vegas. It was great. And next thing you know, traffic stopped at the red light right next to us, and there's a chimp in the passenger seat. And I'm scrambling for my phone. Anyway, I did get the phone and took this picture of this chimp who stared at me as it drove off and took a right turn. It watched me all the way around that corner. Just fantastic. Anyway, and its arm hanging out the window. Dead casual. But yeah, I'm just driving down the strip. Yeah, me and my human. Anyway, we've always got a story living here. Trust me. I saw Big Bird going down there on a wheelchair. And the two showgirls had that big fight. And that's all over YouTube. And then Bert from Sesame Street, who looked like he'd been out all night. Anyway, it's fun. It's fun times. Really fun times here. Anyway, so where was I going with all of this? So back to primates. I say Nye County, they don't have the same animal laws that we have, and there are a lot of people living with exotics up there, but not in appropriate enclosures, and really they shouldn't have them at all. So I'm really glad that this is going to come into play. They said primates just have no place as domestic pets. It's dangerous to humans, inhumane to animals, and a potential threat to public health. I'm happy to work with Congress Fitzpatrick and the Animal Protection Caucus to gather support for this bill and bring awareness to this issue so the senseless practice of keeping primates as pets comes to an end. In the wild, most primates live in large social groups, but nearly all pet primates are deprived of meaningful contact with other members of their species. Expectations that non-human primates will behave like perfectly trained pets or even as little humans almost always leads to physical and psychological suffering for the primate. And pet primates also pose a threat to public safety. Even small primates can inflict serious injuries. And since 1990, approximately 300 people have reported being injured by primates kept by private individuals, although many more incidents likely go unreported. One case that gained worldwide attention in 2009 when a Connecticut woman was blinded and lost most of her face and hands after being attacked by her neighbor's pet chimpanzee. Additionally, non-human primates pose distinct risks to public health since they can easily transmit a wide range of viral, bacterial, parasitic, and fungal diseases to humans. According to lists, primates are highly intelligent and social wild animals whose needs can't be met living as someone else's pet. They're cute and helpless as infants, but even the smallest primates soon become strong and potentially aggressive, posing a threat to the people around them. It is time to put an end to the cruel and senseless pet primate trade. And here's the thing, I mean, you see it in places like SeaWorld where they can't be themselves. Dolphins can't be themselves. They start raking each other, which is scratching each other with their teeth down their sides. You'll see dorsal fins just flopped over on whales. They'll try and beach themselves, and there's these behaviors where they're just going out of their minds, and eventually, they lose it. I just saw a video this week. I think it was in Japan, a dolphin theme park in Japan, and that dolphin came right up on the board and grabbed that woman's leg. It was not having any of it, and it was a whole series, a video of attacks when an animal cannot freely express itself and be with its own kind. Then you're going to have a lot of behavioral issues. I mean, dolphins swim up to 100 miles a day. How are they doing that in a 14-foot deep pool here in Vegas? And that's what they're doing at the Mirage. It's a very shallow pool. It's tiny. In fact, it's smaller than the pool that they have for the guests. How is that anything close to? And then, how they all just loosely use these sanctuary terms, and they're not sanctuaries. Sanctuaries are places where you do not get to buy a ticket. You do not get to take a selfie. You do not get to feed an animal for a day. You do not get to do any of that. It's for the animals to live as close to their natural environment as possible. And that's the distinction. And I wish there had to be some kind of designation where you have to qualify to meet that criteria to be able to say, I'm a sanctuary. But, they all do it. And then they go, oh, it's educational. Then they find kids in there. And, yeah, it's always a big ruse to me. I don't like it at all. There's nothing worse than not being able to be yourself. Think about this. Think about you're in a job, yeah? Where you just feel so stifled in your job. You can't be yourself. You can't express yourself. Eventually, you just lose it. It's just like, I can't take it. It makes you really unhappy. It affects all of your life. It's the same thing. It's the same thing for animals. They have a natural instinct to do certain things. And if you can't meet that, then you're not meeting the 5 freedoms of animal welfare. So there you go. I'm very happy about that. We'll see how that goes. What we've got here, let's have a look. What's this little topic I've got? Let me just whiz down my page here. Oh, this is quite interesting. Are animals better than weathermen at telling the weather?
Yes.
So let's tell you about 8 animals that are going to give you the weather report, which is a great band, by the way, isn't it, Jim?
Sorry, I was checking a message.
I know you are.
It was my bike partner.
That's a bit naughty. Bit naughty during the middle of my show.
I'm monitoring 10 other things while you're doing the show.
Except,
you think I just sit here? I'm not
except
just
having a conversation with me.
You think I'm just sitting here? I'm watching equipment. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. Oh, I make it look easy.
Oh, you're so good.
Yeah.
Here we go. Move over, groundhogs. There are other animals out there in the animal kingdom that are believed to be able to predict the weather. They do it all year long, not just February 2nd on Groundhog Day, which I don't like that either, when they lift that flipping groundhog up. And what about that year they dropped the groundhog? Oh, I can't. I just can't.
Your dogs predict the weather, and then they don't go outside to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, but we don't pick them up and drop our dogs and go, yay, it saw its shadow. They're going to be 6 more weeks of winter. It's so stupid. Can't they just do a stuffed toy? Come on, people. Anyway, some of us humans look to our animals or other animals for signs that the weather might change.
Birds.
Which animals, you ask? Here's the list. Are you ready? Did you hear Mr. Twix then?
Yeah. That was good.
It's like, he's just relaxing.
That's a relaxing exhale.
Yeah. Frogs. Here we go. Frogs. If you've ever hung around a lake or marshland at night, that loud, high-pitched sound you're hearing is probably coming from frogs. If you've ever noticed that the sound of those frogs starts to get louder and go on longer, that probably means there's a storm coming. So there you go. Listen to the frogs. Birds and seagulls. When birds fly high up in the sky, that sounds like a lyric from a song. It usually means that the weather will be good because the sky is clear. If they start flying lower to the ground, it's said that it's because there's bad weather coming.
It's a Michael Bublé song.
Is it? Oh,
Birds
flying high. Yeah.
You know how I feel.
The pressure dropping in the atmosphere from oncoming storms make the birds uncomfortable when flying high up in the sky. Now, seagulls, for example, will return to land if they sense the pressure drop over water. Cows, moo cows. Have you ever seen a cow start to get antsy and restless?
I've had cows follow me down cow paths.
No, it's got nothing to do with the weather.
Scary.
Is their tail frantically swatting at flies? Well, some farmers believe that the cows are predicting an oncoming storm when they start to act this way. They may even lay down in the grass to save a spot before it gets wet from the rain. That one I've always heard of. So, because I lived, in a small village in Sheffield, surrounded by farmland, we saw that often. So there you go. Bees and butterflies. It is believed that bees and butterflies can also sense pressure changes in the atmosphere like birds can. So when you look in the gardens and notice there are no bees or butterflies, it probably means they have gone away to hide from the rain that's on its way. Sheep. You can do an impersonation of a little sheep's.
No, sheep don't make sounds.
Meh. There's an old rhyme that goes, when sheep gather in a huddle, tomorrow, I've just made it very Shakespearean, tomorrow we'll have a puddle. I actually really like that. It may not be entirely true, but it's thought that when the sheep start to gather close together, they are shielding each other from a potential oncoming storm. Whether it be rain, wind, or snow, these guys have each other's backs. I do love sheep. You know, I learned about a certain breed of sheep, yeah? And I've forgotten the name of it. There's a sheep that sheds its own coat.
Argyle.
Don't think so. Do you want to look it up for me?
You love sheep.
Sheds its own coat.
We tried to go see sheep last week.
So you don't have to shear it. You don't have to shear it. I think it does it twice a year. I was watching that show.
Self-shearing sheep.
Yeah. I was watching that show last night.
Say that 3 times fast.
No, I'm not. Go on.
Self-shearing sheep. Self-shearing sheep.
Sausages. I was watching Moving Out to the Country. Love that show, by the way. Anyway, ants. If you've ever noticed that tiny ant hills on sidewalks and driveways start to get bigger, it probably means a storm is coming or some rain. Some people believe that the ants are trying to make their mounds more sturdy and even cover the entrance to their underground tunnels. Now we move on lastly to elephants. Elephants have greater hearing than humans and can hear sounds much lower than we can. I didn't know that. So if an earthquake happens, scientists believe that maybe the elephants can hear them from a great distance away, as well as feel the vibrations through their large feet. This gives the elephants a warning that it's time to flee to higher and safer ground. Maybe we should follow them. Like Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. It's the best thing Nellie ever did, Jim. It's the best thing that Nellie ever did.
Look your thing up.
I just wish all elephants could just decide, see ya. And that's another typical thing that you see in circuses, people getting attacked. And, you beat an elephant long enough and, restrain it, with a chain all day and make people climb on its back all day. Eventually, they have feelings and emotions too, Awful. Just awful. But yeah, that was the best thing Nellie ever did. Packed her trunk, said goodbye to the circus. What else do we have? We're getting close to the end of the show. It's funny because, I pull some topics together and I go, I'm not really interested in that now. We've done our Brexit travel there. I say it can be a little bit, a little bit confusing, but, if you get...
They're called self-shearing sheep.
They are. What were the chances of that?
Shed their fleeces. They're being bred by British farmers for the first time.
Oh, for the first time?
In southwest England.
Yes, that's right, because that's what I was watching.
They're called self-shearing sheep.
That's amazing. They shed the whole thing. But you know what I didn't like about the show? Oh, when they tag them and they go, yeah, just make sure you don't get a vein.
They're called hair sheep.
Is that what they call them?
Also,
hair today, gone tomorrow.
Hair sheep.
I don't like when they tag them. It's awful. They try to imply when I was watching it that, oh, it doesn't hurt. It's like, yeah, okay. Let's pierce your ears without anything on them.
What's worse, tagging or branding?
Both are just horrific.
Okay.
Here's a burn and here's a puncture. Let's see how you feel about that. Oh, it doesn't bother them. Yes, it does. You're just saying that for yourself. By the way, I've shared this fantastic meme yesterday, and it was, instead of saying I'm walking the dog, I've got to go and walk the dog, you say, I'm walking with my dog. And remember, the walk is for your dog and not for you. Really important that you let them stop, sniff, take on information that they pick up along the way. They gather tons and tons of information. They're communicating, and it satisfies their doggy, what's the word? Satisfy their natural instincts. Makes them happier.
That's all your two would do on their walk. They wouldn't even go 10 feet if they had to sniff.
It'd be a 5-minute walk if they didn't sniff. But they do. And it is important that they do pick up this information. They get to be a dog. Really important. There's a compassionate group of animal advocates. They were confined in a temporary cage where they remained for 11 days in a heroic effort to raise awareness about the cruelty that animals endure at the East London Zoo, which is in South Africa. Animals were never meant to be in captivity, said Coyson. He's an activist and African National Congress member of Parliament. Christian Martin, who is amongst the demonstrators in that cage, was quoted in a post on the Ban Animal Trading South Africa Facebook page, and he said, if it was never meant for Nelson Mandela to be in captivity on Robben Island as human being, we are saying then it was never meant for these animals to be in cages. Same difference as far as we're concerned. That's right. And the hashtag is Ban Animal Training, and it also organizes a protest. They organized one on the 21st of March, and they're doing like a vehicle procession to the East London Zoo in South Africa, and it's wow, it's crazy. It's called Close El Zoo is another one of the hashtags. Sometimes it's just about getting eyes on a cause and getting to see what's going on, and you just do what you can. Whether it's a protest, whether it's a procession that you do, whether it's some like this, we're going to put ourselves in cages because we'll get some media attention and
put
show,
you in a cage.
Show what's going on. Oh, I see how that goes down.
Put you in that crate in the garage.
Or this giant crate that we keep because,
never know when you're going to find a dog.
You never know when you're going to find a dog. Which reminds me, the 80s hairball last week, 2 things happened. One, there was a loose dog. So, what, about 8 of you at the event
3 or 4.
found the owners of the dog. What was the deal?
It was the lady in the apartment in the building on the back wall of the event.
Oh.
The apartment building that abutted the microbrewery.
Huh.
And it was a girl that lived in the corner apartment, and it turns out that she and Michael Novelli knew each other.
No.
Yeah.
How crazy
She was
is
going
that?
through cancer treatment, and the dog got out of her door, and
She didn't know?
no.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, reunited at an animal rescue fundraising event. Here's the other thing that happened. A homeless guy came in with his cat, tiny cat on his shoulder. Super nice guy. And he let the owners know of 3 sheets that someone had left their car wide open with the door open. And he just, somebody left the car wide open at the back. You don't want anyone to steal it or whatever. And he says, while I'm here, can I get some water for my cat? And they said, of course, So we all were talking to him. We had this giant wrought iron custom-made dog bed that was in our auction. And that little cat hopped onto that bed, and it was so comfortable. Anyway, the more we talked, I talked to him about 2 organizations, Street Dogs and Street Cats, and how he could get some help for his cat, food, those kind of things. And we had a dog carrier that no one had actually bid on, and it was a Donald Pliner, if you know the designer. It's about a $400 dog bag. And
Pliner the designer?
That's right. And I went and got the dog bag, and I said to him, I want to give this to you for your cat. I think his cat's name was Lucky, if I'm not wrong. And how he found this cat was he said, I had my knife and I thought I was going into a black bin liner, trash liner. I thought they were closing the bags. He says, I cut the bag open 3 times, and then this cat's head popped out. And someone had tied up that cat inside. So anyway, he saved that cat. He'd only had it a few days. So I said, well, listen, I want you to have this dog carrier because I know being on the streets can be a little difficult, and, often, their pets do get stolen from them when they're sleeping. It's terrible. I said, but I'll give you a little bit of extra security. And it's super nice, this dog carrier. And that little kitten jumped in there. Oh, and it was like, yay. And we were all crying. I mean, we were all crying because we're all so incredibly fortunate, and our own pets are really fortunate. So I did talk to him for some time, and such a nice guy. Anyway, it was nice to be able to do some good at the event itself, aside from raising money. But I know he's going to get more help with street dogs and street cats, and they also help a lot with human services because he needed to get an ID. Unfortunately, his mother had passed away about a year ago, and she left a little bit of inheritance, and he couldn't get his hands on it at all because he doesn't have any ID. So I said, well, get with them. They'll help you. So I know for a fact he would have got help. So big shout out to Street Dogs and Street Cats. They do so much for people who are living on the streets with their pets, and they're a great organization. We support them, and we're happy to do so. But yeah, it's interesting what can happen at the pet animal rescue fundraising event. Right, so my last little blurb, superpower dogs. There's an immersive IMAX adventure to experience the life-saving superpowers and extraordinary behavior of some of the world's most amazing dogs. In this inspiring true story, our best friends are also real-life superheroes. Journey around the globe to meet remarkable dogs who save lives and discover the powerful bond they share with their human partners. Follow Halo, a rookie puppy training to join one of the most elite disaster response teams in America. Meet Henry, an avalanche rescue expert in the mountains of British Columbia. Reef, who is a Newfoundland lifeguard with the Italian Coast Guard. Ricochet, whoa, the sun is shining right on my script here. Who is a Californian surf legend helping people with special needs. And the Bloodhound Brothers, and I totally love that name, Tipper and Tony, are leading the fight to save endangered species in Africa. As we discover the incredible abilities of dogs and the astonishing science behind their superpowers, we'll never look at our best friends the same way again. So that is an IMAX adventure. It's called Superpower Dogs, and we'll need to link up for that for you guys so you can see what's going on. Exciting. That sounds like a really, really exciting experience. And I think people underestimate what dogs can do. Well, any animal can do for people, whether it's with physical disabilities or, like, say, finding someone in an avalanche. I mean, that would be the best face to ever see, is a dog's face coming through the snow to dig you out. I can't think of anything better than that.
Not being in an avalanche and being buried under the snow would be better than that.
Well, yeah, but we're talking the avalanche has already happened, Jim.
Oh,
it's not a
okay.
choice before. Do you want to
You're
go in an
not-
avalanche or not?
I don't think you're going to be in an avalanche because I won't be able to get you to go skiing.
Jim, how many times have I asked you to take me to Mount Charleston? You've never taken me up there for skiing.
They don't have avalanches there.
You've never taken me to ski, though.
Well,
How many times have I asked you?
you need ski attire.
Oh, goodness me. Anyway, did you know what that was about?
No.
No, I know you didn't. Because are you on social media even though you haven't been on for a week?
I'm checking your self-shearing sheep. Self-shearing sheeps.
Well, we've covered a lot in the show today. I hope that the Brexit info was helpful to you, whether you are traveling from the UK and then, from Europe back into the UK. It's important that you do know the details. As I say, it's all still a little bit up in the air right now. Who knows what's going to happen within the next week? I think the next vote is on Friday, and that will determine what's going to happen. Now, for example, when we talk about the deals, they're talking about this. For example, some of the deals are, how can Brits travel to Germany? Can the Germans travel and work in England? And they're these deals that they have to work out. Some of them have remained exactly the same. I do know that my mum is fine. She lives in Spain, and so she has no problems whatsoever, still living there as a permanent resident, which she's always been, and it won't change any of her status or anything like that. So, there's a lot of detail in this whole thing. So if we get more of an update next week, then we will again let you know whether there's a status quo and you're good to go, just follow the same steps, or whether there's been a big fat change. But I do know this, people will be very happy when Brexit is over. And I don't blame them, because that's how we get
Why
here.
did they say Brexit when it's Brexit? Brexit.
Brexit?
Brexit. People say Brexit. I'm just kicking in from the ride now.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Oh, 10 minutes, your eyes will be closed if
No,
it's sleep.
I need to eat some eggs.
Okay. Well, it's been great having you listening to the show today. I hope there's always a takeaway from every single show that we do for you guys. And thank you for listening in. Thank you for catching up on our podcast after the show and sharing it with your friends. We also really enjoy all the incredible feedback that we get on the topics and, the people that we bring on as guests on the show, all in an effort to help improve the lives of your pets. Thank you for being a fantastic pet parent, because it's a different level from being a pet owner. A fantastic pet parent is someone on a next level, and caring about every aspect of your pet's lives. Really important that we look at every aspect of their lives to make sure they're happy and healthy, and are with us for as long as we can have them with us. And today you've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, where it's all about pets, people, and pop culture. I'm your host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs, and always kiss your pets good morning and good night. And I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. You've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Visit Vegas Rock Dog Radio for more information. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And subscribe on iTunes and iHeartRadio. And remember, give your fur babies a big kiss from me, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. You must not rely on the information in this broadcast from our hosts as an alternative to medical advice from your veterinarian. If you have any specific questions about a medical matter regarding your pets, you should consult your veterinarian or specialist.